government has declared an emergency.
The outbreak of this new contagious virus.
It's so scary out there. I can't even think of going out.
My family, my friends, when is this going to end?
This is it! This is the end of humanity!
COVID-19 has affected your life drastically. Don't believe me? Here's how.
The name coronavirus is derived from the Latin word corona, meaning the crown. At their core, coronavirus contains a genetic blueprint of RNA, similar to DNA.
COVID-19 പ്രധാനമായും പകരുന്നത് അസുഖബാധിതനായ വ്യക്തിയുടെ ചുമയിൽ നിന്നോ കഫത്തിൽ നിന്നാണ്. ഇത് പ്രധാനമായും പകരുന്നത് വായുഗണങ്ങളിലൂടെയാണ്. ഇത് അധിക നേരം വായുവിൽ തങ്ങി നിൽക്കുന്നതിനാൽ അപകട സാധ്യത വളരെയേറെ കൂടുതലാണ്.
People are certainly new to this and are adapting. Social distancing and self-isolation has caused a major impact in human life. Everything from social gatherings and in-house get-togethers is restricted in this current scenario and caused a major impact in quality of life for many individuals. The enormous scale of the crisis and the impact it has naturally causes a lot of fear and anxiety across the globe. Add on top of that, lack in financial situation, instability in family and work, along with cabin fever, it is safe to say that mental health of the general population is suffering.
Man, you know there's a lot of changes happening now. Like right now, like all these things about COVID is making me paranoid, and plus I can't go out without a mask or having a bottle of sanitizer with me. You know, it's gonna be a mess for the next 5 to 10 years, I guess. I think, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree. You know, it's a tough time. It's, you know, nobody was prepared for this.
Because I'm a kind of guy who likes to socialize a lot.
Definitely.
So it's gonna be a hard year.
Yeah, 100%, right? Like socializing is something that's been in everybody's thought, right? Like it's going out with friends, getting together. You know, simple things that we used to enjoy it's almost impossible to do. What would you say if I asked you, is socializing going to be considered suicide? And I heard that somewhere. I just thought I'd ask you that.
Okay, let's say I have COVID. Like, I tested for COVID and it's been positive. And so technically, or the government is going to think that I'm going to be a teacher for other people.
Yeah.
That's going to really affect me a lot because already I'm bored with all the things that I'm doing. Like Netflix. 100%. I have watched all the shows in Netflix. Seriously, all the shows. Plus, you know, if that happens, I have to stay in my home for like 14 days without going, like in my room. I can't even talk to my roommate. I have to be there in quarantine for like 14 days, and that's gonna suck a lot. Like physically, mentally.
I understand that he is very disturbed by this new trend and has affected him mentally. I listened to his story and I felt bad, not only for him, but for most of the people out there facing the same trouble.
You know, before that, you know, we were living life like normal, but then, yeah, the virus really kind of flipped us over, right?
Yeah, let's hope for the best. And you know, what else can help us? The God, the Almighty. Pray, seriously, man. Just pray to God.
That's all we can do, right?
Yeah.
For sure.
On the other hand, there's a group of people that is particularly affected by this pandemic. Yes, I'm speaking of the homeless. Living without a home, rough sleep, and staying in a temporary accommodation is very damaging for health. Many homeless people also face very complex health disorders, such as trimorbidity, which is the coexistence of mental and physical health disorders as well as addiction problems. I mentioned earlier, there's a large category of people that are affected by this pandemic. The homeless people are not the only ones that are affected. Another group of people that are very affected are the students and the job seekers. Now let's see what they have to face.
This coronavirus affected me a very lot. Like even I just went through the depression. My education, my studies, my travel, and everything, even my family relatives, it's affected on everything. I don't know what to do. I was so depressed, and even I started drinking just because of this coronavirus. I was just mentally very depressed about this.
Speaking of students, they're having a hard time adjusting to these new online classes and not going to school. Some of them who I spoke with pointed out that the stagnant lifestyle has caused them to be unhealthy and leading to obesity. Another group of people that are affected are the newly graduates that are job hunting. Current rates of employment sit at 26.3, which is considerably lower than what it was last year.
So for me, COVID has presented a lot of challenges. It's really hard to find jobs right now. The industry that I'm looking to get jobs in is difficult, but at the same time, I think there are like certain areas that are easier to find jobs. But for me, it's quite difficult to find a job right now. And yeah, everyone wants a job, but at the same time, there's also like everyone's on like EI, so it's not a huge deal, but it kind of is. You never know like when that's going to stop. So yeah, it's really hard to find a job.
There's a saying, a man will sacrifice everything to keep his family safe. But in the case of some healthcare workers, this is not just a saying. I'm going to tell you a story about a man that lost the first battle with COVID-19 pandemic. This is the story of Tom Thomas.
Hi, Ibn. As a part of the health profession, we all heard about what happened with Tom and the unfortunate things that happened. You being in the same field as he is, how do you feel about that? And do you have any comments on what happened, what must have been the cause, or anything else of that sort?
Well, as far as I know, to be honest with you, like first of all, like Tom being a health professional, and myself being a nurse, I work in one of the major hospitals in the city, which deals with COVID straight. It is quite traumatic as a health professional, and him hailing as the same place from India as mine. You don't want this happening to anyone in the first place. And from the health professional part of view, what I want to say is like we as a team, we're doing everything we can to put an end on this, but in the reality, it is the end is still far.
Right.
So far. So as of now, I'm not sure what happened exactly. What happened to Tom? But as far as I know, I mean, he was positive for COVID, and he went to the ER. I mean, something like that. But my knowledge is as far as good as yours on part of that. But unfortunately, you don't want happening to anyone.
Definitely not. Yeah.
So it is quite shocking, frustrated, and he is unfortunately the first health professional casualty in Saskatchewan. I mean, we don't want any nurses or any doctors or anyone related to taking care of COVID, passing away in the first place. I mean, it's pretty much a big battle going on.
It was heartbreaking when he told me about Tom. Unfortunately, many like Tom has passed away in this presumably never-ending battle. His life story, his legacy, is all that's remaining.
Try not to go out much where the public is. Maybe reduce your groceries to maybe once or twice a week if it's possible. And mainly focus on your hand hygiene. Try to restrict yourself, small, or do not widen your bubble much.
Right.
These are the primary, measures to counter on.
Yeah.
And COVID actually thrives on people very fast when they are, talking pretty,
socializing in
at the same time.
Distant manner.
Yeah.
Right.
And always wear a mask. That's your first line of defense. You don't want to talk to anyone without a mask.
Yeah. So
or
the general
like
public,
at least make sure you're 6 feet apart.
Right.
So that's the basic thing.
Okay. Yeah. As I'm sure you know so much more.
Yeah.
In this little time that we had, thank you so much for sharing as much as you can.
No problem.
And
Appreciate you coming in.
Yeah. And I just want to end off by saying, thank you for Tom and what he had done for the community.
It is quite unfortunate.
Let's just pray that nothing like that happens to anybody else. So so for the general public, does have a pretty big role to play, and we all play a big part on and keeping this virus under control. So, thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you.